The baby wouldn't stop crying. Not a whimper, not a fuss, a full-on red-faced scream that echoed off the marble walls of the massive, eerily silent mansion. Maya clutched the infant to her chest, her fingers trembling as she paced across the sleek wooden floor. Shh! It's okay, sweetheart. I'm here. I'm here. But the child, Noah, was inconsolable. And Maya had no idea why. She wasn't even supposed to be here. 12 hours ago, she was working at a dusty checkout counter at a corner store in South London. Her phone had rung mid-shift. It was her older sister Tanya, practically whispering, her voice shaky. "I can't go to that house today. Something's not right. Please, go instead, just for today." Maya hadn't hesitated. Tanya was the reliable one, the careful one, the perfect nanny every elite family wanted. If she said something felt wrong, Maya trusted that instinct. Still, she agreed to cover, because that's what little sisters did. They showed up, even when they were clueless. But now, as she stood in the middle of this glass and gold fortress, holding a screaming baby she barely knew, Maya felt like she'd walked into a trap. Something was off. No security staff. No noise. The intercom system crackled every few minutes, but no one answered when she spoke. And worst of all, the father, Mr. Elias Granger, a man she hadn't even met yet, was nowhere to be found. She had arrived just before 7 a.m., letting herself in with the code Tanya gave her. A housekeeper greeted her at the door, but disappeared without a word after showing her the nursery. Since then, 6 long hours, Maya hadn't seen another soul. No one. Until now. A faint click echoed down the hallway. Maya's heart jerked. She turned toward the sound. A door had opened at the far end of the corridor, slowly. No footsteps, no voices, just a sliver of darkness behind the cracked door. She swallowed. "Hello?" No reply. She gently laid Noah back in his crib, wrapped in soft clouds of pale blue bedding, and stepped out of the nursery. The hallway was long, cold, and lined with family portraits. Most of them showed Elias Granger alone with the baby, his face unreadable, eyes always slightly averted. Not a single picture of a woman. No wife, no mother, no warmth. The cracked door led to an office. She pushed it open, empty. But there, on the mahogany desk, was something that made Maya freeze. A photograph. Tanya, smiling, nervous, seated in the very room Maya now stood in. Behind her, a blurred figure that Maya didn't recognize, but the man's hand was on her shoulder. Maya's stomach tightened. Tanya never mentioned this. Then she saw the envelope beside the frame. It was sealed with a gold wax stamp. Her name was written in bold black ink. Maya. Her fingers trembled as she opened it. The letter inside was handwritten. "You're not supposed to be here. If you're reading this, I failed. Leave. Take the child. Do not wait for nightfall." The handwriting was unmistakably her sister's. A cold shock ripped through her spine. Failed? What the hell did that mean? Failed what? Her breath caught as a sudden sound came from behind, a deep voice. "You opened something that wasn't meant for you." She spun around. There, standing in the doorway, was Elias Granger. He was taller than she expected, dressed in black from collar to cuffs, expression unreadable. His eyes, icy blue, sharp and cold, stared through her like glass. Maya clutched the letter to her chest. "Where's Tanya?" He stepped forward slowly. "She's unavailable." "What do you mean, unavailable?" Her voice cracked. "Where is she?" Elias didn't answer. Instead, he smiled, small, sharp, unsettling. "I told her not to bring anyone else into this." She didn't listen. His gaze dropped to the envelope. "Now you know too much." Maya took a step back. Her mind screamed, "Run, grab the baby, leave!" But before she could move, Elias pressed a button on the wall. A soft buzz followed, and then a click. The front doors had just locked from the outside. Maya's pulse thundered in her ears. "What is this?" Elias tilted his head slightly. "You're not just a nanny now, Maya. You're a liability." Suddenly, the crying started again. Louder, sharper. Noah's scream cut through the tension like a blade. Maya turned to run back toward the nursery, but Elias's voice followed her, calm and terrifying. "You really should have stayed at the store." Secrets and survival. Maya didn't remember running. One second she was frozen at the sound of Elias's voice, cold, calculating. The next, her legs were sprinting down the hallway, her breath sharp in her throat, arms pumping as she bolted toward the nursery. Noah's screams still rang out, urgent and high-pitched. Maya shoved open the nursery door, grabbed the crying baby from the crib, and cradled him tightly. Her heart thudded like a drum inside her chest. "I've got you, Noah. I've got you." Behind her, footsteps echoed, slow, controlled. Closer. She looked around, frantic. The windows were sealed shut, reinforced glass. No fire escape, no balcony. She rushed to the door and slammed it shut, flipping the small lock on the handle, but she knew that wouldn't stop Elias Granger. A man with this much money didn't build houses with flimsy locks. She looked around for something, anything, to use as a weapon. A tall lamp, a thick wooden toy, a baby monitor, nothing that could stop a grown man. Noah squirmed in her arms, his tiny hands clutching her sleeve, his sobs now tired and hoarse. She knelt beside the changing table and whispered, "Shh, it's okay. I won't let anything happen to you, I promise." Then came the knock. 1, 2, 3, calm, chilling. "Maya," Elias called through the door. "I'm not going to hurt you, unless you force me to." She gritted her teeth. "What did you do to Tanya?" A pause. Then, "She found out something. She shouldn't have. Just like you did." Maya closed her eyes, heart sinking. Whatever this was, it was bigger than her, bigger than Tanya, and now a child was involved. She looked down at Noah, who had stopped crying and was staring at her with wide, teary eyes, and then, as if fate responded, her phone vibrated. She had completely forgotten it was in her back pocket. New message, unknown number. "If you're still in the house, he knows. Get to the red door. Basement code 1811. Her eyes widened. She didn't recognize the number, but the urgency was real. She pressed the phone to her chest, her breath ragged. Could it be Tanya? Was she alive? Or was someone else trying to help? Elias knocked again, harder this time. "I can break this door down, Maya. Don't be foolish." She looked at the crib, the changing table, the soft mobile spinning above. This nursery, as warm as it looked, was a cage. She whispered to Noah, "We're getting out." With one arm securing the baby and the other clutching the phone, she flung open the nursery closet. Inside, baby clothes, diapers, and behind a row of neatly folded blankets, a small panel in the wall, a ventilation shaft. She set Noah down gently on the pile of folded blankets, then pulled the panel loose. It led to a crawl space, barely wide. Enough! She took a deep breath, grabbed Noah again, and squeezed inside just as the door behind them burst open. Wood cracked. Hinges snapped, but Maya and the baby were gone. The shaft was dark and hot. Dust clung to her skin. She kept moving forward on her knees, one hand dragging Noah behind her, carefully wrapped in a blanket. The metal groaned beneath her, but she didn't stop. Every few feet she paused, listening, trying to guess where Elias might be. The house felt like a museum, massive, echoey, full of secrets. Then finally, after what felt like forever, she spotted it. A red-painted door tucked at the bottom of a narrow stairwell. She crawled out of the shaft, landed awkwardly on a dusty floor, and winced as pain shot through her ankle. No time. She picked up Noah and limped to the basement stairs. At the door, she punched in the code, 1811. Click. It opened. Inside, a flood of cool air hit her. The basement was nothing like she expected. It wasn't dark or cluttered. It was a lab. High-tech. Computers lined one wall. Surveillance screens showed every hallway of the mansion, including the nursery, now trashed. In the center of the room was a long table with files, documents, photos. Maya approached slowly. She wasn't ready for what she saw. There, on top, were pictures of Tanya, several of them, all dated and labeled. But what shocked her more were the pictures beneath, pictures of herself, taken outside her flat, at the grocery store, walking alone, smiling at her phone. Maya's hands shook. Why would a billionaire track two random sisters? And then her eyes landed on the last folder. It was marked, Subject 17B, Noah Granger, Trial Phase. Her breath caught. Inside the file, medical charts, DNA reports, observation logs, strange notes, memory stability 80%, responsive to auditory commands. Subject bonded strongly with Tanya, must monitor if replacement causes disruption. Daily injections required. Maya took a step back, her stomach turning. What are you doing to this baby? Behind her, a low voice answered, saving humanity. She spun around. Elias stood at the door, breathing calmly, eyes sharp and steady. You weren't supposed to find this. Maya shielded Noah instinctively. He's just a baby. He's more than that, Elias said softly. He's the future. You think I adopted him out of pity? No. He was designed, chosen. Her voice trembled. What do you mean, designed? Elias walked toward her slowly. Born from a gene pool selected by our foundation, modified, enhanced. You wouldn't understand. Maya shook her head, stepping back. He's not a project. He's a child. He needs love, safety, not whatever this is. Elias's eyes darkened. Tanya said the same thing and she ran, just like you're planning to. But she was wrong. The world we're building... He stopped mid-sentence, because suddenly the red door slammed shut behind him. A metallic hiss followed. Locks from the inside. Elias turned. What? A voice came through the intercom. Female, calm, familiar. You never changed the override code, Elias. Maya's heart jumped. Tanya, you always underestimated me, the voice continued. I warned you. Not to bring Maya into this, but you did. Elias slammed his fist against the door. Tanya, open this door. You don't know what you're doing. Oh, I do, the voice replied. I'm taking back control. Suddenly, vents opened above. Gas hissed into the room. Maya coughed, pulling her shirt over her mouth. Elias staggered, eyes wide. No, no, don't do this. Within seconds, he dropped to his knees, then collapsed. Maya ran to the intercom. Tanya, where are you? A pause. I'm in the control van outside. I've been watching since morning. I wasn't going to interfere unless it got dangerous. But he's crossed the line, Maya choked out. You should have told me everything. There wasn't time. I never wanted you near him. But now that you are, we finish this together. Outside, sirens wailed. Maya looked at the screen. Several black vehicles were pulling up the long driveway. Armed men in tactical gear poured. Out, Tanya. Who are you really? I'm your sister, she said softly. But I'm also part of something bigger, something that keeps men like Elias from playing God. Maya glanced down at baby Noah, eyes wide, cheeks tear-streaked, clinging to her shirt. I don't know what's real anymore. This is real, Maya, Tanya said. You, him, the bond you've built in just one day. That's what makes you human. Not perfect genes, not labs, love, escape and revelation. The gas was gone. The room had cleared. Elias Granger lay unconscious on the floor, motionless except for the slow rise and fall of his chest. His once controlled, intimidating presence was now reduced to a lifeless heap at Maya's feet, but Maya had no time to feel relief. Noah whimpered softly in her arms, exhausted and frightened. His little hand clung to her shirt, his body trembling with each breath. She kissed his forehead. It's okay, baby. You're safe now. The intercom crackled again. Tanya's voice returned, calmer this time. Emergency response is entering. The house. I'm routing them to your location. You'll be out in minutes. Maya's lips parted to respond, but another voice cut through the feed. Override detected. Emergency lockdown initiated. Her heart sank. Tanya? What was that? There was a brief silence before her sister answered. Tight. Urgent. He. Set a failsafe. The system's locked us out. Stay with the baby. Don't leave the room. But Maya didn't listen, because right then, every screen in the lab turned black. Except one. The center monitor lit up with a flashing symbol. A red emblem, E.G. Corp. Elias Granger's biotech company. Then a video played. It was a recording taken weeks ago. Tanya, standing in this very lab, her face tired but determined. Elias was beside her, smug and composed. Tanya, on screen. The project has gone too far. These aren't clinical trials, they're lives, Elias. They're products. The world will thank us. Tanya, you're experimenting on children, on babies who don't even know who they are. Elias, that's the point. They don't carry baggage. They can be molded. Maya's breath caught. Then another figure entered the frame. A man she didn't recognize, grey-haired, stern, carrying a briefcase. His accent was European, Russian maybe. Stranger, we invested in results. You promised control, emotional independence, no attachments. Elias, Noah is the most advanced subject yet. But he bonded with her, with the nanny. Stranger, then sever the bond. The screen went dark. Maya turned, her hands trembling. They were going to erase his emotions. Tanya's voice came back on the intercom, rattled now. Maya, listen to me. They're not just trying to create children. They're trying to engineer obedience, no attachments, no grief, no questions. Maya's mind raced. She looked down at Noah, his wide brown eyes staring up at her, so full of confusion, trust, and fear. How could they want to erase that? Because love makes us unpredictable, Tanya said, but it also makes us human. Suddenly the screens flashed again. A loud beep, a countdown. System reboot. 5 automated security protocol engaged. Sub-level lab will lock permanently, evacuate immediately. No, no, no. Maya backed toward the door. How do I get out? There's a secondary exit, Tanya said quickly. Behind the server rack, panel on the left. I'll guide you. Maya rushed toward the rack of humming computers. Her fingers found the latch Tanya described. It clicked open, revealing a narrow tunnel carved into the concrete. She hugged Noah tight and crawled through, every heartbeat pounding in her ears. Behind her, the lab began to shut down. Lights dimmed, mechanical locks clicked into place. And Elias was still on the floor, completely still. She didn't look back. The tunnel led to a hatch that opened behind the mansion's east wing. Maya emerged into the sunlight, squinting, breathless, Noah still wrapped in her arms. Waiting outside was a sleek black van with its engine running. The back doors flung open, and there was Tanya. Maya! Maya stared, stunned. Her sisters. Hair was tied back, face streaked with dust, eyes wide with worry and relief. Tanya, Maya whispered, you're alive. They hugged tightly, both trembling. Tanya pulled back only to cradle Noah's face with both hands, checking him over. He's okay? She asked. Maya nodded. Scared, but okay. Tanya let out a breath. We don't have long. Elias has other locations. He's not the only one funding this. Maya stepped into the van. Where are we going? Tanya's voice was steady. To the people trying to stop them. 3 hours later, safe house. Outside Oxford, the house was hidden in a wooded clearing, surrounded by thick trees and silence. Inside, it looked like an old stone cottage, but underground it was wired like a command center. Maya sat on a couch with Noah in her lap, while Tanya debriefed with a team of 3 others, 2 women and a man, all dressed in casual clothes, but speaking like intelligence officers. Maya watched them with quiet intensity. She wasn't sure who to trust anymore. When the meeting ended, Tanya came to sit beside her. She reached for Maya's hand. I never wanted you dragged into this. Maya didn't let go. But you didn't tell me the truth. I couldn't, Tanya said. Not just for your safety, but because if I had told you what I was really doing, you'd have tried to save me, and that would have cost your life. A silence passed between them. Then Maya asked, So what is Noah, really? Tanya glanced down at the sleeping child. He's a prototype, genetically altered, not grown in a lab, but modified at birth. He was part of a secret branch of EG Corp, meant to be perfect, smart, obedient, emotionless. But he's not emotionless, Maya whispered. No, Tanya agreed, because he bonded with me, and now with you. And Elias? Tanya's jaw clenched. He never wanted the bond. He saw it as a flaw. That's why I took Noah and ran last month. That's why I made that call to you. I needed someone innocent, someone they wouldn't suspect. You, Maya's voice cracked. So I was bait. No, you were a shield, and you did what no one else could. You made Elias show his hand. Maya held Noah closer, her heart breaking at the thought of what he had been born into. He's just a baby, she whispered. He deserves better than all of this. Tanya reached into her coat pocket and handed Maya an envelope. This is everything. The locations of the other children, the donors, the tech teams. If something happens to me, this needs to go public. Maya looked up, startled. Wait, what do you mean if something happens to you? Tanya gave a faint smile. They'll come after us, Maya. But I've been planning this longer than, I can lead them away. Buy time. No. Maya shook her head. You're not doing this alone again. But Tanya's eyes were full of something Maya hadn't seen before. Finality. I'll come back, she said. But first, we make sure Noah stays safe. She touched the baby's hand gently, and Noah opened his eyes, blinking at her, as if remembering her warmth. I love you, little one, Tanya whispered. You're not a product. You're real, and you're going to grow up loved. Later. That night Maya sat on the rooftop of the safe house, Noah sleeping in a carrier beside her. The stars stretched overhead, endless and cold, but for once she didn't feel alone. Tanya had left 2 hours ago, disguised, off-grid. She promised to return. Maya didn't know when or how, but for now she had Noah, and something even deeper than truth. Purpose, she whispered into the night, to no one and everyone. I don't care who made him. I don't care what he was designed for. He's mine now. Noah stirred, let out a tiny sigh, then settled, and somewhere far from the mansion where this all began, the man who tried to control life itself finally lost the one thing he feared most. Soul he couldn't manipulate. The final stand 5 months later. Coastal village in Italy. Maya stood barefoot on a quiet stone patio, overlooking a sleepy cliffside town bathed in golden sunset. Her hair danced in the breeze, eyes scanning the horizon as Noah giggled behind her, chasing a wooden toy boat across the tiled floor. He looked happy, whole, normal, but neither of them were the same. After fleeing England, Maya had moved from safe house to safe house, guided by a hidden network Tanya had helped build over the years. Places where whistleblowers, scientists, and damaged assets, as Elias once called them, could disappear and start again. And now, here she was. No longer the shy, overlooked younger sister, no longer just a nanny. She was Noah's, her guardian, his protector, and possibly the only person alive who held the key to Elias Granger's empire falling apart. Inside her worn leather bag, buried under Noah's diapers and children's books, was the encrypted drive Tanya gave her, full of names, locations, patents, illegal experiments, and the chilling truth about what EG Corp had done to children like Noah. But for 5 months, Maya had done nothing with it. Why? Because Tanya never came back. Flashback. The night Tanya disappeared. They had split up at the border. Tanya went east to mislead Elias's trackers. Maya took Noah west toward the safe route into France. Maya waited at every rendezvous point, but no sign. No call, no message. The last encrypted transmission she received simply read, "They found me, but they haven't won. You still can." Now, as the sun dipped into the sea, a knock came at the villa door. Maya's spine tensed. No one was supposed to know they were here. She stepped inside, scooped up Noah, and quietly approached the door. Another knock. Softer this time, Maya opened it a crack, ready to slam it shut. A man stood outside, grey suit, unarmed, hands open. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said calmly. "I'm here because of your sister." Her breath caught. He handed her a small package wrapped in dark linen, then stepped back. "She wanted you to have this. You have 1 hour to decide what to do with it." He turned and walked away, fading into the dusk like a shadow that never truly belonged in sunlight. Maya closed the door, heart thudding. She set Noah down, unwrapped the package, and froze. Inside was a black locket, and inside the locket, a tiny memory chip, a message auto-played through a secure signal, Tanya's voice. "If you're hearing this, I didn't make it. But don't mourn me. Use what I've left." You were never just bait, Maya. You were the soul they never saw. I'm coming. There's one final location left, where they've taken the remaining children. It's not in England anymore. It's in Zurich, beneath a fake orphanage they fund under another name. They're planning full rollout next month. You can stop it. You must. And Maya, tell Noah I didn't leave him. I left to make sure he had you. Maya broke. She cried silently, clutching the locket, shaking from rage and grief. And when Noah toddled over and touched her knee with a soft, confused, "Mama," she knew she was done hiding. 3 days later, Zurich, Switzerland. The orphanage was pristine. All white walls, smiling workers, clean records. But Maya had learned to spot the lies, the ones hidden in plain sight. With a scarf over her hair and Noah asleep on her chest in a sling, she entered the building posing as a visiting donor from a child relief agency. Security waved her in. Inside, the walls were covered in colorful drawings, but none were signed. The children she saw were quiet. Too quiet. No fights, no tears, just silence. Emotionless, just like they wanted Noah to be. Her fingers clenched the ID badge in her pocket, stolen from one of Elias's biotech operatives who had tracked her. 2 days ago, he wouldn't be reporting back. She followed the hallway toward the staff-only wing, down the service lift, and into the sub-level. That's when she saw him, Elias Granger, alive, thinner, paler, but eyes just as cold, standing in a glass lab, speaking with 2 men in suits. He looked up and their eyes met. His expression didn't change, but his hand twitched and alarms blared. "Seal the level," he barked. Maya bolted. Cradling Noah, she sprinted through the metallic corridor, dodging security, using every route Tanya once taught her. She burst into the server room and slammed the drive into the terminal. Her fingers flew over the keyboard. She didn't have much time. Data upload initiated. Uploading to Global Press, Human. Rights Council, Interpol, UN Cyber Division. Footsteps thundered behind her. She pressed the final key. Upload 97%, 98%, 99%. Complete. Then a gun cocked. "Step away from the system," Elias growled. Maya turned slowly, shielding Noah with her body. "I loved that boy like my own," he said bitterly. "He was going to change the world." "You mean obey the world," she snapped. "But he loved me, and that ruined your experiment." He raised the gun. But before he could fire, Tanya's voice rang out through the buildings. "PA system, Security override. Voice print Tanya Rao. Lockdown reversal. Backup release. Elias froze. What? Maya's jaw dropped. She was alive. Suddenly every door flew open. Sirens blared. Floodlights filled the room. Interpol agents stormed in, heavily armed, shouting in multiple languages. Elias backed into the wall, stunned, and Maya smiled because justice had arrived. 2 weeks later, United Nations Human Rights Tribunal, Geneva. The story exploded. Elias Granger and several biotech executives were arrested and charged with crimes against humanity, illegal genetic manipulation, and the trafficking of children. The children in the Zurich lab were rescued. Noah's identity, and others like him, remained sealed under global protection. Tanya, though injured, was found in a hidden compound in Ukraine, rescued by the same underground network she had helped build. And Maya, she stood on a podium in Geneva, holding a tearful Noah in her arms, as she gave a testimony that shook the world. "I was just a nanny," she said. "I didn't know what I was walking into, but I know this: love is not weakness, it's defiance. And when they tried to remove it from these children, that's when we had to fight." 6 months later, new life, new name. Maya and Noah now lived in a warm coastal town under a new identity. A quiet home, a garden, a dog named Lupo. Tanya visited often. They sat on the porch and laughed like they did when they were kids. But sometimes in the still of night, Maya looked at Noah sleeping and thought, what if I hadn't answered that call that day? What if she had said no? But she hadn't. And because she said yes, a child was saved, a monster was stopped, and the world, though still broken, was made a little more human again. The end.